got to throw some cold water on the situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
System activate.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. It's a tech podcast. But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek, giving you the info you need to achieve mega nerd status. NetHeads.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will and Trent.
No one listens to the radio. I wasn't even listening. I was listening to podcasts. Podcasts are great. Radio's boring.
Oh, hell yeah, they are, everybody. Welcome. Another edition of NetHeads. Coming to you live from the Smodco Radio Internet Broadcasting Network, somewhere north of my pants. My name is Will.
I'm Trent.
You want to take part in the program, you can one of many ways. One of them is Twitter. Trent, I love to hear you tell the people about it.
Look, folks, it's that simple. Use the hashtag NetHeads. Oh, excuse me, I mean NetHeads.
Hey, that's pronounced O-Neaters.
Oh. And you can join the likes of everyone else that's involved in the conversation, help direct the show, try and derail us or tell us how we're doing. Hashtag NetHeads on Twitter.
That would be totally awesome. Also, we do have we both have both a Skype call-in line and a traditional call-in line, if you want to look at it that way. They both go to the same damn place. But all you got to do is NetHeads on air, all one word, via Skype. If you want to try and pick up on the toll-free, I think it's 888-610-Will or 925-238-9020, which is also YakBet 9020.
YakBet 9020.
Trent, it's been a while, man. Did we take 2 weeks off accidentally?
Yes, I think it was 2 weeks.
But it turns out it wasn't 2 weeks, and the only thing it was 2 weeks, but it wasn't accidental. And folks, this talks to how important it is to both monitor and understand the relationships in your life. I view my conversations with Trent here on NetHeads. It's both a benefit of hopefully bringing other people entertainment and secretly craving acceptance.
Yeah.
But also, it's just about having a good conversation with a friend. I mean, that was the impetus of Smodcast itself, and I totally get it now. How many years has it been now, Trent, where we have had semi-regular conversations?
Do we do it? It's either 2010 or 2011.
2011 was NetHeads, and I think that means...
So this would be our 7th year.
Yeah, there you go. 7 years. I don't know how you do it, sir.
Yeah,
there's got to be a humanitarian award for putting up with me for that long.
Stop it.
I really think there is.
It's over.
But it's really important to understand how the proper way to maintain relationships. Trent, I won't go into the details because it's probably not really germane here, but Trent just went through something really incredible at work. But it has been, how much time have you been put in over the past couple of weeks?
Oh, gosh. Over 100 hours.
There you go. So
in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. So if you do the math, that's 80 over 100. He's done at least 60 hours a week, probably.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's a really huge achievement, and it can also lead to bigger and better things for him. But like we just said, that's a lot of time for a person to be putting in on something. So I would like,
no doubt,
I would like ping out to Trent, and the thing that I picked up on is, well, I'm not getting a really rapid response, and if I'm not facilitating the request, there's not really much activity. So, I'm just going to go out on a limb because I wasn't aware of any of this. I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say, something's going down. Let's just give him his space. And sure enough, I was right.
Yeah. But now everything is with work is like went off without a hitch. Life is good. We're podcasting, and it's very important that we're podcasting because we won't be able to podcast for at least with me, for another 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Well, and interestingly enough, I will say that former guest and animator and Smodco animator, Josh Stifter, just reached out to me saying, hey, wouldn't mind coming on the pod. And I'm just like, well, it just so happens my co-host is going to Portugal for 10 days.
Josh is the man. I'm glad. Good for him.
He's a good conversation. He really is.
He's a good dude, too. I just like him.
Yeah. But and sorry, I didn't mean to expose your personal life there. But if
Oh,
you
no, you're
happen to
fine.
be if you happen to be a NetHeads fan in the Portugal area, sometime within the next 2 calendar weeks, you may be sharing at least a massive portion of geographical space with none other than NetHeads
Yeah.
and a part of him. And what's the wrestling pod?
Internet Radio Wrestling.
Internet Radio Wrestling, which is you and that's Judge Funky Boy on Twitter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he's got a lot going on. So all of those shows, you'll be sharing time with the host or co-host of all them shows, as well as all around cool guy Trent Hunsaker. Look at him.
Stop.
You
I'm
know,
blushing.
Trent. There's no way to bury the lead. So I'm gonna put it out there now. Do you, out of respect for the material and the creators?
Right. Yeah.
Because if you guys don't realize, I'm talking about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure.
It came out. I'm thinking out of, and especially considering before the movie came out, Sean Gunn even posted. Wait, Sean Gunn? No, James Gunn. Sean
James
Gunn is his brother.
Is his brother? Yeah, who has a prominent role in this film.
He really does. He has much more than just the sidekick banter provider.
Yes, and also he's the stand-in for all of the rocket shots.
Yeah. So, do you want to? I'm thinking out of respect for the material, we go spoiler free. How do you feel? How are you feeling on that? He's playing with his cables. There.
Sorry, I'm getting some weird feedback here.
Yeah, that's probably
okay. It's over. It's over.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. This is the catch-22, right? Because we want to dive in and like really like pour our hearts into how we were touched by this art.
Okay.
But at the same time, we don't want to ruin it for everybody if they haven't seen it yet.
Here's what we do. I think this is really simple and it's fair to the audience. And maybe we reiterate it a few times. We started at 10:30. Okay, roughly. Which means, I started recording 7 minutes ago. So this times out well. We started roughly at 10:30. So what we do is we take the podcast, we talk about it in general terms for the next 30 minutes. So when it's 11:07 my time, 12:07 your time, at that point we can go spoiler free. So the next, and maybe the conversation will go into different stories and different directions. But I think if we go ahead and do it this way, we can do it. I'm just afraid that we may also fill an extra 30 seconds or fill 30 minutes of time with that. By the way, folks, in case you're wondering, in live production, life is always tricky. So what's going on right now is I'm watching my friend in the preview window. He's clicking and fiddling and playing with cables, and it's just not happening for him. If you want to see what I'm talking about, there's Trent. There he is. He's trying to troubleshoot an issue, and I'm not surprised because, man, look at the heft on that mixer. That thing is that's not your average home studio mixer, my friend, at all. He's getting some weird feedback, and it could be, you know what, dude, here, let me just reduce my compression on my end because maybe it's tweaking out on your end, possibly. I don't know. All I know is you've been coming through fine on this end. So that's really wonderful. So I think that's the general plan. So if you want to avoid spoilers about Guardians of the Galaxy, we may talk about other stuff, but regardless, we will give you how about this? Let's make it easier.
Let's make it easy.
The last 15 minutes of this show, okay? So at that point, then this way we can talk about anything we want. Because we always go in and out of stuff.
Yeah, and then that way people don't have to like jump ahead a little bit or not jump ahead or whatever. Right. Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
So then 11:15 my time, 12:15 your time. That's when we can go ahead and spill the beans, if it were.
Yeah.
For anything like majorly spoilerish, I think.
Yeah. Plus,
there is a little bit of stuff to talk about. So we got now that we understand, and heaven forbid we actually have this conversation off the air so we don't drag the audience through it. Determining exactly what we would and wouldn't talk about. Last week I guested on Dorking Out, the Dorking Out podcast show. And it, because they wanted to talk about their upcoming summer movies. What were your top 3? Which one do you think is going to bomb? And ahead of time, like they asked me what were my top 3 because I was the guest. They deferred to me, and they just naturally adjusted their notes so that way nobody was repeating the same story to tell. Heaven forbid we work out in advance. Do we want to talk about what are we going to do? But hey,
gosh, no,
folks, this show is produced live by 2 monkeys that are barely able to function, except one of them just accomplished so many things at work. So proud of you, Trent.
Oh, thanks, man.
Actually, speaking of pride, if I can brag for a moment, there is
Yeah.
this big regional competition that happens this time every year between high school and middle school bands, right?
Oh, okay.
And the wind ensemble and band overall for my daughter's middle school is massive. And the past 3 years, they have taken first in all positions at this competition. Yesterday it happened. My daughter was actually nervous the night before, which also in a way makes me proud because it's like this is a high stakes thing for her. She understands the responsibility and wants to achieve. I'm like, ooh, that's good. She's got the hunger.
Yeah.
They performed, they got an award for spirit decor or something along those lines, and then they took first in every position 4 years running now, and my daughter got to be a part of that. I'm really super proud.
That's freaking rad, dude.
Yeah, and now she also has a crack at being there for the 5th straight year for next year. So way to go to my beautiful daughter if you ever listen back to your jackass father and his stupid podcasts.
Yeah, that's freaking rad.
Anyway, so braggarts all aside, I got to tell you one quick funny story. I tweeted about it last weekend. Really haven't talked about it, though. Shared it with Trent, who said I'm a goddamn American hero, and I completely agree with you. Last weekend, home ownership is an ongoing battle between trying to save money and trying to fix things.
Yeah, it really is. It's like before you become a homeowner, you think, oh, it'll be so great, it'll be this world where like I'm investing in this liquid asset that I have, and it will always become a better investment for me, and I won't be just paying someone for rent. It's gonna be so easy and such a great thing, and life will be so good.
There's a reason why the term money pit exists.
It's so true.
Not that my home is, and don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. However, last weekend, the downstairs bathroom is the one adjacent to the studio home office here. And I got to say, it's a very important toilet for me because it's an extreme matter of convenience, if you will. I mean, we're talking close proximity. I do a U-turn out the door, and I'm in the head. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So it was getting used last week, and suddenly, there's water leaking out from underneath it. That's a bad sign, pretty much. Not only because it's leaking, but because you know where that water's coming from.
Right.
And I determined, okay, this is pretty much going to be the seal, no issue. So I figure one evening, I think it's Thursday evening, I decided, okay, I'll take a look. See what I'm dealing with here. Face the horror, if you will. Because, Trent, it's not fair. No one should ever have to see where the poo goes, okay?
No.
No, that's just not natural. It's not what we want.
It's not right.
But I went to go check just see if the toilet was loose. So, maybe the bolts need a little tightening. There's 2 bolts, one on either side of the toilet. That's what holds it down. And I go to pop the cap, and the whole thing comes off in my hand, including a bolt. And I'm like, well, the flange is screwed. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm willing to accept that. The girls are going out tomorrow night. I'm going to party it up with a toilet on Friday night. Got myself all ready. Very long story short, don't know whether it was the home builder or contractors did the flooring before we bought the house, but there was a 1-inch gap around the drain pipe for the toilet, which means the flange was mounted to absolutely nothing. I had to get
So
out.
it's just like a hard rock forward.
Yeah, that's probably what. Look, man, I got to admit, sometimes I don't get enough bran in my diet, and there's some wiggling that required. But but the funniest part is the reason why they thought they could get away with it is because they used this OBS flange, where the flange itself was underneath the lip of the pipe, so they were just working on straight resistance and everything being. Needless to say, I was not thrilled, but I was able to quickly use Quickcrete to backfill around it to give myself something to drill into. By Sunday morning, it was fixed. The only unfortunate thing is that same flange I was talking about, it was mounted on the outside, and it was going to have to be cut away so I could put a new flange in. And I don't know if you've seen the type of thing for cutting a pipe on the inside, but you can attach it to your drill, and it's like a little rotary saw on the end.
Yeah.
Needless to say, it got away from me. It was a nasty cut. I probably should have gotten stitches, but I've also become very adept at wrapping this for a week. So,
do you feel like an MMA fighter?
A little bit at all times. It's just like I just should wrap the knuckles and be like, I'm ready to go.
And then you're just gonna dip them in glue and then dip them in
Yeah, that thing
glass, and you're ready to fight.
That thing, the web between the thumb and index finger, it just went right in there. The good news is, not a lot of pain receptors there though. That's one good news.
Oh.
But and it has it's come together. So although I didn't go to the doctor or get stitches, I think the end result's going to be it may click a little, but sorry, that knocked up anyway. So that was my little homeowner adventure. Have you had any over the past 2 weeks?
I'm still so after this trip with to Portugal, I'm gonna get that real mower I've been talking about for over a year now, right?
Ooh,
Yeah.
the push one.
Still don't have it, so I've been mowing my lawn with a weed eater.
Which is always real, as long as you got podcasts and headphones, though, right? No?
Your back hurts so bad.
Not to mention, I'm sure trying to mow the lawn with a weed whacker is like trying to corral hamsters, right?
So there's no uniform length, and then wherever you hit to get more string, it's just gone.
You forget what you're doing. You're like, shit, I should have taken that to the sidewalk. Why do I keep doing this?
Oh, God.
Basically, you're saying your front lawn looks like a toddler that got their hands on a pair of scissors.
That is exactly what it looks like. Yep. Yeah, or like, and there were spots where it's so tall when I went through the first time and cut it was all laying down, and now it's gone back up. So there's just like these random tufts.
And how much are those push mowers? And what he's talking about are like the 2 or 3 rotary blades that just spin with the wheels, like an old school mower. Do you remember how much those run?
Yeah, they're like $110 is all.
Well, let me ask you, Trent. One of the things I know that I said quite a few episodes back was that all of the proceeds from the holiday season would be going to Trent if you use the Amazon link or anything else. And it just so happens that's about the amount. So did you just want to give me a date to have it ordered and delivered?
Stop it. No, you don't need to do that.
No, it's your money. Look, all I'm saying is it's about the exact same amount, maybe just $5 shy. So I either send you the money and then you're spending it on this anyway, or this money that you don't even have suddenly just makes a mower show up. Which one do you want?
I don't know. I feel weird. I don't know.
Okay, let's not talk about this in front of the kids. We'll talk about this. We'll talk about it later after they've gone to bed.
Okay.
How does that sound?
I feel better about that.
Excellent. Mike Driscoll on Twitter, that CG guy 79 says, "Way to go, Will's daughter." I completely agree.
Yeah,
actually,
that's freaking rad, dude.
If I can just say something too, so let's go ahead and start dipping our toe into the Guardians of the Galaxy pool, if you don't mind.
Please.
So first of all, we all loved the first movie, and of course, I think every one of us have. And I'm properly including you in the all of us. Sorry that you don't like Guardians of the Galaxy. Wow, you scare me. Anyway.
Yeah. Then you may not have a soul.
Yeah, just or at least maybe half a heart, something along those lines.
Yeah.
So Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, and I have to admit, I feel so dense sometimes because it was a great story. But in rewatching it before seeing Volume 2, excuse me, one of the things I finally picked up on, and this is for me was key, and it's kind of beautiful because it's also a theme in my life. Even though I do have older brothers, I've never really had a large interconnected family. I married into a family that is huge, and I love it naturally. So I'm very big on the concept, and with both my daughters, I'm very big on the concept of you make your own family in life to some degree.
Yeah, I agree.
The friends
totally
we build
agree.
around us that become lifetime friends, or at least some guy that's willing to talk to you on the internet for 7 years.
Yep.
Any one of those categories plays, you really do. You build your own family. The bonds that that bring us together aren't that necessarily of blood. If the Gunslinger, the Dark Tower series taught us that too.
Yep.
Anyway, because of course fiction is the way to build your life. So I was very sad.
It's worked. So it's worked for religion.
Yeah, definitely. I have felt very dumb when I was rewatching it, and I suddenly realized that part of the reason why all of these guys work, because in the beginning it's really the bounty on Quill's head that draws Raccoon to him, and then they get or at least they hide under this common veil bond of the MacGuffin getting paid for, which was the Infinity Stone. That was the thing that kept them together. And Drax joining in because he wants to be able to kill Ronan. But what it all came down to actually is these were all broken people with broken families.
Yep.
And that common catharsis is part of what brought them together, and realizing that they really are able, or at least in the first movie, It was really all about being able to overcome that and work together and learn to form a family, if you will. So,
Yeah.
and then once again, the with volume 2, man, they once again went straight for that. I mean, it was just. Well, what's your first emotional take on the movie?
Well, so the first time I watched it, I was so focused
La
on
di da.
no, but
I'm
this
sorry.
is true though.
How many times have you seen the movie, Trent?
I've only seen it twice.
Only, he says. You
Yeah.
remember back in the day where life was so out of control
I know,
and funds
dude.
were so tight, you were like, it's not at the dollar movie theater yet, so I ain't gonna see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, but like in all seriousness, like seeing it the first time, I was so focused on trying to like preemptively figure out the plot and like look for Easter eggs and look for differences between comic book continuity and what they were doing. I remember walking out of it thinking, man, that was a ton of fun, but it just didn't have the emotional punch that the first one had, right? And then the second time I saw it, I bawled multiple times.
I'm very glad to hear that, because I'll tell you, I don't know, maybe it was because it was the end of a very long day. We went to go see it at 9:35 yesterday, and yes, I was really excited, and this is part of the reason why the family theme is very cool for me, because my eldest daughter Emily, the same one I was just bragging about, she went to go see it with me and wanted to go see it with me. So it's just like, oh my
yes.
gosh. It's
Yes.
one of these few realms of common nerdery that connect, and it's something that helps, and it's an experience we get to have together. Unfortunately for her, it was an even longer day. She got up at 6 a.m., and she had the best of intentions, but I think there was a good 20 minutes of the movie she needed a disco nap for, which I fully respect.
Yeah.
But I did something. I don't know if it was because of the seeing it at a 9:35 showing after a long day and not a good night of sleep, but for once in my life, and I think I was predisposed to this as well, as I said, because this is a sequel, and because I firmly believe they can't fuck this up.
Yeah.
Which I had going into it. I said, but I figured I wasn't going to compare it to the first, and for once, I'm just going to sit here and watch the movie. I'm not going to think about where it's taken me.
Yep, exactly, dude.
I'm going to let it dictate the journey. Although I will admit, from the stuff we see in the very beginning, I'm like, well, that's going to come back sometime.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, dude, I'm so with you. Yep. Right off the bat, I leaned over and said, that part.
Yeah.
To my girlfriend, and she was kind of looking at me like, "What?" I'm like, "You'll see. You'll see."
And when you figure who the protagonist, or which one's the bad guy again? The antagonist. When you know who the antagonist in this, and you tie it into that, you do kind of realize, oh well, this is, I can see exactly where that's going. But I accepted that the moment I did it. I'm like, okay, that's going to come up later, whatever. And I'm glad I did, because the other thing I will tell you is that one thing that this movie does very well in the very beginning is right after the opening sequence, it says, here's what it did, Trent. It sat down on the porch before it was getting its day going and sipping its morning cup of coffee, and it was thinking, you know what? A lot of people are going to be wanting to see a lot of things because of what they've seen in the advertisement. They're going to want to see that baby Groot. They're going to want to see the Guardians of the Galaxy in action. They're going to want to laugh. They're going to want to see Star-Lord be Star-Lord. And you know what? We're going to even make sure that rocket for the Rocket Raccoon is going to be seen. And it just planned out its day. It realized everything everyone would want. And it just, to use a Kevin Smith parlance, it just takes it out and slaps it on the table right there at the beginning.
Yeah.
It doesn't mess around. It knows exactly who it is.
It's true, man.
And it is the guy with the catchphrase who runs in, and he knows who he is. So within moments he says, "Nice such and such. I want to dip my balls in it." That's what it does.
It really does. And the great thing about this one too is I was talking about it last night with some friends. It is this one, even more so than the first one, stands completely outside of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, you could walk into this movie having not. I mean, you'll miss out on some callbacks and Easter eggs, but you could watch in as this being the very first Marvel film you've ever seen, and it will mean just as much.
Well, that's
Because
yeah.
there, aside from like a couple references that aren't super germane to anything, it is a self-contained film. There is no tie-ins. Maybe later in Easter eggs and stuff, but as far as like the actual content and plot of the story, it is wholly stands on its own.
Not directly related, but I will say too, and this is the thing I said about the original Guardians as well, because it is in the established Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it's sort of it's the Gilligan's Island action when MASH is going on in Korea and stuff. It's its own standalone thing. It doesn't have to play by the same real world rules that the other movies are attempting to deal with.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing because they get to play a lot more. And then the cool thing that I realized before this movie, after having had that textual conversation with you, I realized that they realized the exact same thing for the next Thor movie. When you see the previews for Ragnarok, they're like, you know what?
Yep.
Let's leave Earth off the table this time, and let's really explore this other part of the universe that we haven't, which makes sense because it also gives them the opportunity to set up the Infinity War a little bit more. It makes us understand the greater scope, and plus it gives us a little more insight into the Guardians than we've had in the past. So I not the Guardians of the Galaxy, but like the Asgardians is what I meant.
Yes, yeah.
So I think they realize they can play a lot more because it looks like even down to the title sequence. They're just like, let's just tap into some of that Galaxy or Guardians of the Galaxy zeitgeist.
That goofiness that only we can get away with.
Yeah. By the way, too, one thing I just also want to say that I really love about these Marvel movies now is it's so nice, and the same thing could be said with the Star Wars movies. It really is nice to kind of have these scheduled event movies because it does allow us, using the term zeitgeist, to really tap in to kind of a common zeitgeist as well. Because if you think about it, going to the movies is a very cool relationship with a thing like this because you're all there because you're excited to see the exact same thing. So,
dude, yes,
these in many ways, it's like church. Church is you either go because of obligation or because you like the feeling of common good that happens there.
Yeah, the common good, the community, the shared suspension of reality almost. You know what I mean? It is exactly the same.
Yeah, and it's nice. And at that moment I realized Marvel movies may very well be my church.
Dude, and that goes back to what you were saying at the beginning about the buying into fiction as part of religion. Like it makes sense to me. Like there is no difference between reading a comic book and getting a sense of moral right and wrong, and then or reading a Bible story and getting a moral sense of right and wrong. To me,
man,
they are exactly the same thing.
The Vision limited run series had such great parables for so many things in life right now.
Absolutely. The only difference is modern fiction can actually evolve and be more direct and not have to have some old white guy interpreted for you to try and get the meaning out of it.
Doesn't have to be the man in different clothing telling me things.
Telling you how you should think about it.
From a little stage up there. Although I did appreciate the one time that the minister at the church we went to was talking about, giving up things for Lent. He's like, look, I know we're all into social media. It's like, I got to get my Twitter on. I just, by the way to connect to the younger members of the congregation.
Right.
Anyway,
yeah.
So speaking of church,
awesome.
I'm glad to hear that you cried because there were so many different times that I either started to well up in tears or I just straight up did. One of them is blatantly obvious. One of them I was like, wow, this is setting me off. It was just and I think part of that, it really came from surrendering myself to the process, allowing myself just to let the movie dictate for me where it was going to go and just let it tell the story. And man, I my daughter walked out and she felt it wasn't as good as the first movie. I don't really compare the two. I only took away from it the experience that I had, and that was just that it completely met the terms of the contract I had going in.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, dude. Like for me, it was one of those things like and that's just it. Like I felt a little let down the first time I saw it. I thought there's more action, there's more comedy, but it didn't tug at the heartstrings like I wanted it to, as did the first one. But then the second time, I don't know, the second time when I'm not trying to figure it out, when, like you said, when you can just sit down and immerse yourself in what's going on, and you can anticipate like the gravity of certain things that happen, and then you can start seeing the emotional connections between the characters and this bond that really does solidify everyone that is set forth right from the very beginning. Oh God, I've got chills just thinking about it, man. Like I just a tip of the hat to James Gunn, dude, because he has masterfully put together this film that like no one should care about. It shouldn't be as fun as it is, and it sure as shit shouldn't put people in tears. Like the second time I saw it, it was a screening for Salt Lake Comic-Con, and I went in and I hosted it. We did giveaways and stuff, and then I sat down.
Humble brag.
Well, but then there were no seats left, so I had to sit on the front row. Which I hate, but I, whatever. But there were three ladies who were sitting next to me in the front row who showed up late. All four of us were just bawling in the same spot, and it was like James Gunn, man. Like this is the guy that made Super. If you haven't seen that movie, definitely watch it with Rainn Wilson and Ellen Page. His range is insane, man. It is crazy how he can pack so much, and just like opposite ends of the scale, really hitting every element. And another thing about the film too, it made me kind of recant some criticism I had for the first film. The first film, my only beef was I felt like Nebula was overacted
In the first one?
Yeah, and
oh my God.
Right?
My God. Look, here's the other thing this movie does amazingly well. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off, but I just got to get this one out there.
Yeah.
This movie practically redefines for us so many key characters in the movie.
Exactly.
I mean, they give Yontu actually a very tragic but very informed backstory. Same thing for Nebula.
Yep.
It's like these characters in a way are completely redefined for me.
Exactly. And so what I saw as overacting in the first film, I then realized was a directorial and actor's choice to really convey this character is so affected that this is the only reaction they have to everything. And for me, and then at that point I could liken it to like certain characters in other fiction, which made sense to me. So for me, maybe this is just a Marvel apologist, I don't know, but for me it made so much more sense in the choices that were made in the first film for portraying of a character that I was like, okay, never mind. Like I totally redact that choice for how she acted, and it makes sense. It's true to the character.
It also, man, I tell you that I could not have imagined the Yontu story the way I did, especially considering you thought he was just this abusive, horrible scoundrel, and to find a way to redefine that, I don't even understand how that is humanly possible in fiction, yet they did it.
Oh, I know, dude.
I mean, there's just so much about this that was just good. I mean, and for me, at least in my experience, I've only seen it once, but for me, there was never a moment where it even gave me a moment to slow down and think. It just constantly delivered. There wasn't that laggy period for me at all.
Not once. No, I totally agree with you. Like I mean, in all the other films, I feel like there are points where they're like, okay, let's keep it rolling. No, like this is the same thing that like Larry Hama talks about dialogue for comic book writing. Like the only kind of the only time you should have actual script or text in a comic book is when something on the screen is not portraying what's going on, or something in the panels. And this, everything that happens is germane to the plot through the whole thing. There's payoff for every single little thing that happens. There was one phrase that said, that is kind of, it's in a sequence of a lot of different actions, and there's one thing that said that I'm sure refers to a scene that was cut out, so I'm excited to see the director's cut for that. But other than that, man, everything just boom, 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 boom. It moves nonstop.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing too is it doesn't make you work for anything. Everything, like you said, I think what was it? I think it was the creator of Breaking Bad. What's his name again? Vince Gilligan.
Gilligan, yeah.
Or Gilligan, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Vince G, we'll just call him.
Yeah.
When he was talking about the final season of Breaking Bad, he said, well, one of the things that they say in creating something is if you show a bomb, you've got to later on show a bomb going off.
Yeah.
Because it lends credibility to the risk. And this kind of thing, it's like every little element it gives you, it makes sure that it's there later. It's just for me, it was a very well-crafted story. I hope people don't go in trying to compare it and just letting it ride, because it really was just phenomenal. Especially like the one little preview about the tape. They really even expand on that in the movie to a ridiculous degree. But I loved it.
Yeah,
because it was at least showing like, no, look, I'll go end to end on this for you. You want tape? I'll make sure nobody has tape.
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally agree. Yeah.
And I think as well, and this will get more into the spoilerish thing about it, but I think, let me just say this too. The thing that I love about it is it does one of those great things where it splits the characters up, and then at the most important part, it gets the band back together. And and they did that. Oh my gosh. Look, folks, all I'm going to say is there is a part where Baby Groot is sent on a task to try and get something.
Oh,
I am glad I did not drink too much water, Trent, because I literally would have pissed my pants.
Yep.
I was laughing so hard. My daughter said, "Get a hold of yourself."
Yeah, which again, if you've seen the first film, the kind of the end of that gag pays off beautifully to a similar callback of human prostheses.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. It just there's so much in there that is just it's such a look. I'm telling you this right now, okay? Unless look. First of all, if you see this movie and don't like it, that's your prerogative. I can't really judge that, but I'm hoping you could have the kind of experience I had when you go see it. And
agreed.
So, if you are absolutely feeling down in the dumps, or you need direction, or you're trying to figure out what to do with your life, if you got enough money in your pocket to get yourself a ticket, maybe a small bag of popcorn and a little soda or whatever it is you like, just go see this movie. And I hope you have the experience I do, because you'll just walk out feeling good. Because it conveys one story, and that's the importance of family. And what's right. Oh my gosh. Like, there's one part that I've got to say for the last 15 minutes because it's a major it's actually the only part that I originally questioned, but I think I understood as well.
Yeah.
But because it was like, wow, why are they putting that in? That's weird.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that. But first, Trent, I want to get into other things that can be surprising for you when you get them, if you don't mind. Unless there's another thought you want to carry out.
No, that's I think we can save the rest for spoiler-rama.
I hope so, because it's coming up. But in the meantime, I got to tell you something, Trent. I have been waiting here for 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
In order to open my loot crate.
Oh shit! You're a cuckold to the max.
Look, folks. I'm waiting it out here for you. It's what I do.
Aww.
Well, plus I get to do this little cool thing now where I can come over to the Skype. I can expand me up again so we can kind of see your reaction and what I'm showing.
Yeah.
Sort of, if it would go where I want it to, but it's not. Let me see.
Oh,
Look
there
over-
we go.
Okay, there's part of me, so nope, now it moved again. You know, this is what happens when you work on a low budget, folks.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Trent can see it, and I'll try and arrange it so you can see it too. But I'm gonna open up my Loot Crate. I don't even remember what the theme was for last month, but oh no, folks, it is a Batman color changing mug.
Oh, that is rad.
Oh, dude, I love mugs. You know me. I'm big on the coffee. What changes
Yep.
color? I gotta know, Trent. I gotta. The bat symbol. The bat signal lights up. I can already tell that.
Oh.
Oh,
So
that's
this, yeah.
sweet.
So we're talking like hold it. Yeah. So we're talking like I wonder
Yeah.
which bat symbol it is.
It actually looks very. I'll tell you, it looks a lot like the shape of this bat wing I got before on a
Oh,
keychain.
okay. Yeah.
Okay, so that's out of the way. What? Oh, now you know what? I love Q-Figs, the little figurines. I knocked
Now-
Adam Strange on the store. Oh no, he's right there. I knocked Doctor Strange down. I thought, but it must be somebody else now. No, it's not the character from Next Generation, Trent.
Oh, because that I was gonna say that's pretty obscure collecting item
Yeah,
to have.
they're
would
the
be, like,
makers of
just
these.
Q.
But no, it's a Jessica Jones ones. They're these adorable little figurines.
Oh my god. Oh, in like an action set, kind of like a cute smaller version of the Diamond Select Marvel figures.
I guess so. Boy, that's cute. And by the way, did you see the Defenders trailer? Woo-hoo.
Oh, dude.
Looks like hey, you look like an idiot. It's your scarf. Oh,
Scarf.
ate that up. What else we got in here? Got my loot pin.
I
my,
love you're just throwing shit left and right.
my guaranteed loot pin that you get. You also get guaranteed a T-shirt every time.
Oh, nice.
What is this little thing? It's a pencil sharpener. I don't know why I have. Oh, there must be pencils. Oh, that's why
Oh, yeah.
X-Files pencils.
Oh, yeah.
Last but not least, what was the T-shirt? I haven't seen this.
Yeah, what's the t-shirt?
What is the T-shirt? Oh.
What's in the box?
Yeah, I don't know, because apparently I can't unfold the T-shirt at all. It looks like a pod, an aphid that's ready to eat people, or some. Oh, it's a Stranger Things
Yep,
T-shirt.
dude. Yeah, that totally is.
It's
Yeah.
11. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
I'm in
dude,
love.
that is awesome. Oh, please bless that the yellow glows in the dark.
Oh, I don't know, but that looks incredible, folks. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. Okay, Loot Crate is awesome. You saw my live reactions there. You saw Trent's live reactions. Let me try and slightly not let people know I'm moving my image. Oh, I guess talking about it doesn't help. But Loot Crate it's the best gift that you know is coming, all right?
Yeah.
It's the best surprise you know is coming every month. If you're on a quest for epic gear, housewares, and collectibles, Loot Crate has it. They have an epic range of pop culture items for less than $20 a month. If you're a fanatical fashionista, then you can try Loot Wear, which is monthly wearables and accessories with cult classics and your favorite franchises. If you want to get fancy bigger box with an even bigger loot with Loot Crate DX. Want to geek out your pet? Try Loot Pets. Trent, Michael Cera might like some geeky swag, right?
That's a good idea. And also in October, I'm getting another puppy. So double the fun, double the pleasure.
There you go. You can take
Loot
advantage.
Pets.
Yeah, there you go. May's Loot Crate, Trent. You only got until May 19th to get it at 9 p.m. Pacific. Then it is gone. You'll find items from Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Star Wars, Destiny, and the Goonies, Trent.
Oh, man.
Not
Now
to
you're
mention-
tugging on the old heartstrings.
Yeah, not to mention one lucky subscriber will also win a Mega Crate, including a premium format Groot figure from Sideshow Collectibles that is over 22.5 inches tall. You know, they say it's not the motion in the ocean. No, I don't know. Never mind.
It's not the size of the boat, but the motion in the ocean.
Well, all I'm saying is that's a pretty damn big Groot.
Yeah.
That'll get the job done. Anyway, folks, it's real easy. You don't even have, I don't think you have to use a code. If you just go to lootcrate.com/netheads, you can get $3 off any new subscription. Cash in on this May's Loot Crate theme of Guardians. May 19th, 9 p.m. specific is when you have to cash in on it. So do it now. All you got to do, lootcrate.com/netheads. Loot Crate, get some. There we go. That's out of the way.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's the way the sponsor would like to hear it, but that's out of the way. It's nice they gave a pencil sharpener. This one looks like it turns into it does. It looks like an open case, so you can turn it into a suitcase when you unfold it, and it looks like a high-tech briefcase with an X-ray view.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I felt like such
Oh, because it's all conspiracy themed.
yeah. I felt like such an a-hole when I kept talking about wanting that Batman Q fig, and then I found one in a box. But that box also unfolded to be the side of a building, so that's going to be another box shelf over
background.
here
Yeah,
that
yeah,
he
yeah.
will sit on by himself. The 66 Batman Q fig. It's just a thing of beauty. By
Yeah.
the way, in regards to my comment that they couldn't screw up Guardians of the Galaxy, that CG guy 79 says, nah, they can't mess it up. DC already did. #Suicide Squad. Ouch.
Oh.
I wish I could disagree, but I don't understand how they overcame the protagonist in that one just with a bomb. I don't know, man. Anyway, let's not get into Suicide Squad. We're riding a Guardians of the Galaxy high here.
Yeah. Well, and before we get into the spoilers, I'm very sad. Something that came up with my Steve Kent. He was talking, hey, Wonder Woman looks like it might be pretty good, and I said, yeah, I agree with you. However, DC forgot to advertise for it.
I saw a Wonder Woman trailer right before Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I haven't seen any advertising for it, and that's their tentpole for the summer.
Not only is it their tentpole, but isn't that also basically the DC formula? There are certain the WB Warner Brothers is behind it.
Yeah.
And they have specific strategies around movies, including specific targeted advertising. I'm just wondering if they think. So, are you saying perhaps they don't have faith in this movie, or because it's one or the other? It's either they don't have faith in the movie, so they want to cut the advertising budget to recoup costs, or they know they've got a movie and they don't need to advertise it. Which is it?
Or they're saving to a combination of the two, where they're only going to push the last week really hard, and put all their budget into direct advertising for a short period of time. I don't know. It's just weird that I don't have TV, so there is a if you're an advertiser, you have to try to get me, and they haven't got me at all.
Oh yeah, because they've got to catch you on some type of service where it's streaming.
Somehow. Yeah, streaming or in Facebook or on Twitter
Billboard
or on
something?
websites. Something, yeah, exactly. And,
by the way, dude, your glasses
haven't
are
at
really
all.
cattywampus. I know this is a podcast for some people, and they can't. Oh, never mind. That would explain it. I'm sorry. I am an asshole now. I apologize. I'm sorry to see that.
For
Very
those
frustrating.
of you for those of you listening, they broke. So I've got to go find a. The nice thing is though, I did just get like the generic 25 millimeter Wayfarers, so I can just go to the mall and buy a $10 pair of sunglasses and pop out the lenses, and these will pop right in.
Please get like a different colored pair just so you have one.
Oh, on both sides.
Yeah.
And then the center will be a different color as well.
There you go. Yeah, I admit, when I found these frames, I liked them so much, and they were on such a discount, I knew they would close out, so I actually ordered 2 because it was so cheap.
Yep, that's what. Yeah, I do the same.
So I got 1 pair in reserve to maintain. I've even got the non-nerdier looking kind, but now these are my Clark Kent glasses.
Oh yeah.
I could take them off. By the way, before we get into the spoilers too, did you want to dip into Trent's Corner at all? I know we should really talk about this in advance. Sorry, folks.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, let me press the letter T. Oh, actually, it's under G. That makes no sense. It's that time where we find out what is in Trent's Corner.
Ew, what's that?
I don't want to do this, but I'm going to anyway. What is in Trent's Corner? That's right. Will does too much talking. We like to make sure that Trent gets his appropriate, his due, his dipping of the beak, getting a little taste, getting a wet. Trent, what's going on in your world, man? What's going on in your corner?
So yesterday, Judge Funky Boy and Will Work for Ice Cream and I on Twitter, we went to Salt Lake to the Utah Championship Wrestling Zero event held in a high school, and that's why I'm hoarse today. Holy shit, we were one of the few people on the front row, and we had such a blast interacting with the crowd or with the performers. It was so much fun. It was rad too because kind of like the promotion's stable main character is a guy named Martin Casals, who was on WWE's reality Tough Enough show. It's kind of like a UFC's Contender. He is also a regular on Lucha Underground as Marty the Moth. And then in Lucha Underground, his storyline sister was there at the performance, and she wrestled as well. Like, it was so much fun. And then on top of it, Eddie Guerrero's nephew, Chavo Guerrero, was the mainline wrestler for the main event. It was just so much fun. And like, if you ever see like a bill for a local wrestling thing, and this one in particular was set up by the high school's principal, because he like is a big fan, and he set it up as a fundraiser for the high school football team. And like, this is the how do I put it nicely? This is kind of a sad high school in the fact that it is one of the lowest income areas. And so there, as far as property taxes go, this place really struggles. And it was just really cool to see like the community together. The football team was there to like support and thank people, and they like broke down the ring and worked and did everything. It was, I don't know, dude. It was just one of those things like where like a community, like, because the promotion itself has this unique community around it. And then the high school community came around it too. And to see like these melding of like weird cultures, but everyone like really excited and raising money and everything about it. I don't know. So if you ever get the chance, go to a local wrestling show, especially if it's for a good cause. So much damn fun.
Well, and help educate a jobber like me, Trent. So in regards to this, is this kind of like the minor leagues of wrestling, or is it a step below that? I mean, how does it work out?
Yeah. So essentially, what a lot of these promotions are they're wrestling schools that then also have a promotion built around that, right? So the teachers of the school are the performers, and then if you come and go through the wrestling school, you get your chance to perform in the promotion, right?
Yeah, because I've heard of like some people involved in wrestling in some ways, like in Southern California as well. But I don't.
Yeah.
But I guess you could really kind of set up your own little wrestling league or company, if you will, and just do road shows, and because that's really cool if you think about it. Kind of like in the way that I think at the at the fairgrounds in a neighboring city, that during the summer they have like funny car racing or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. No, it's exactly like I liken it to
the different types of cons that are out there.
Totally. Or even I would say like an improv school, right?
Oh, very good.
So like if you're a master at comedy and improv, you set up this thing where you can come and learn, and then they'll usually do a show to highlight everyone, and then maybe you'll bring in a highlighting act to try and draw people in at the same time. Like it's very similar to that.
It's at least it sounds a little more organized and a definite step above breaking collapsible tables in somebody's backyard.
Oh yeah. No, this is not backyard wrestling. Like they have a Vimeo channel and stuff, so you can go and watch all their stuff, and they've got commentary and everything's filmed. Like it's not the minor leagues, but it's like just below. It's like AAA.
Yeah,
it's
very good. I'm glad to hear that, because and that kind of thing is cool, and I especially love that it sounds like it's something you guys really got into. So you were like adding to the character of the event too.
Yeah. So that's the thing. When you go to these smaller shows, there's this not everyone is there wants to participate in the show, right? Some people are Tom Sherlock was talking about this after the show. Some people just want to go and like experience the show. But if you're willing to participate in the show, you can add so much in helping the performance of the characters by giving them someone to focus on, right? So by giving the villain someone to focus his heat toward, then that can help him develop his improv of interaction and disdain, and likewise blatantly cheering and overreacting for the hero does the same thing. He gives them someone to like call on so they can Hulk out when they need to. Like,
dude, that is so cool. And so is this just like an understood symbiotic relationship between true fans and those in the biz, if you will?
Dude, it is so much fun because when you're on the front row and a small thing like this, right off the bat, they come out and you're up in their face, like there's no barricade or anything between you and the ring. So like at one point we had Miss Paradise came over and sat down in Will Kent's lap.
Will Kent.
She slapped my hat right off of my head, like little stuff like that. People yelling "shut up" to me directly, like throughout the evening, and then afterwards to go and talk to them, and they're like, "Oh my God, that was so funny when you said that. Like I almost broke when you said that. Like thank you so much."
Dude, the other thing I love hearing about this is that it gives me a new level of appreciation to those that do get front row at these major wrestling events, because then
Totally.
in some ways for fans it's also probably part of the fun, trying to being enough of a presence yourself to get that attention kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And it's great too. And it's a little different when you get to the televised, like the WWE televised stuff. But Tom Sherlock has this great story of when he was a kid, he was at a show, and when he kind of like understood what was going on, I don't remember who it was, but this villain woman came out and was getting a lot of heat from the crowd, and she walked up to a kid and said, "Hey, I like your shirt," and then kept on walking. But like to the TV, it looked like she was yelling at this little kid, but in reality, she was just giving the impression of it. So like this weird disconnect. But yeah, anyway, if you ever get a chance to go to a live wrestling show, do it. It's well worth your money.
Well, and it sounds like you guys were able to make it to where it was not only well worth your money, but it's like it was full on pure entertainment from beginning to end.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that, man.
It totally was. Yeah, it was fun.
So there you go, folks. Look up your local wrestling in your area. The professional stuff, though, not those wacky backyard MMA guys.
Yeah. Or also, go to some high school wrestling matches if you get the chance, because those are just fun to watch and really interesting and kind of a dying sport.
That's true. It really is. Although I've never given it much thought, and I probably won't after this. Sorry.
That's fine.
Were you on the wrestling team in high school?
In junior high, but in high school, I didn't do winter sports because you couldn't ski. And we lived right, in Jackson Hole, so we always had weekend season passes. So like, no basketball and no wrestling, like, because you got to ski, man.
Well, Trent, by the way, too, I just got to say how much I love your father. In the past 2 weeks, Trent shared this video.
Great point. Yes.
From Antiques Roadshow.
Yep.
First of all, you get to see Trent and his full curled mustaches and all his glory. And he just had the greatest story. He's like, well, came to Antiques Roadshow, found out classic family heirlooms were $2.63. Next time, I'll just stay home with the herd.
Yep. And it's so funny because so this happened last summer was when they filmed it. And there was, my grandma had passed, my dad's father, and that was one of the things that my father was happy to have got as far as inheritances go, and everyone was kind of assuming that this was like a passed down heirloom because it meant so much to my grandma, blah 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 blah, and then to find out, nope, it's just kind of a cheap thing you can get anywhere. It's worth $2.
Yeah, what happened? They probably picked that up in a Crackle Barrel about 60 years ago.
Yeah, like that's that it was great. Yeah, and crazy, like of everything I've ever shared on Facebook, I think that might be the most interacted post I've ever. It was great.
I literally just want to pour the portion of him saying just stay home with the herd and use that as a soundbite,
Right, yeah.
That'd be the official NetHeads sign off. Just next time, just stay home with the herd.
Home with the herd.
It was beautiful, man, and it's so nice that you have that moment. But when it comes to family heirlooms, some things I remember after my parents' divorce, there were a few knickknacks that were always at my dad's house, wherever that house was.
Yeah.
And when he passed, that was like of all things, this stupid blue crystal bird. But I had fond memories, so I just. Sure, you don't want that. I'll take it because it means something to me.
Yep. No, I totally know what you mean, man.
Yeah. So, and it's nice that you have that moment to look back on. That is one thing I do think about, at least in regards to these podcasts and everything, is like at least there is a certain piece of me that is a legacy that my children will be able to look back on. Again, kids, sorry, I didn't mean to let you down, but that's who I am.
Dude, Dude, you just participated in time travel. Isn't that kind of crazy?
In some ways,
Just
I did.
now? That seriously blows my mind, dude.
Speaking of time travel, one of the things I thought that would be really neat because we've never done it. And sorry, everyone's tuning in like, aren't they supposed to be in spoilers now?
Yeah, what's going on?
Are you okay with wrapping at 11:45? I'm not pushing
Sure,
you too
dude.
much, am I?
Yeah,
on.
works for me.
Okay, so sorry to keep this one a little long, guys, but I was thinking about it because I was thinking about how many years has it been. I always think that around this time of year because I think your first phone call was like March 25th on the given year.
Yeah.
I was thinking one of the things we might do either to fill a gap or as a special podcast, we do a commentary track for that first phone call on Radio Askew.
Oh, shit, dude.
And that way I give insight just into me leading into it. And then, because let's face it, you called in the first few minutes and we just went the rest of the time. And it went so well. I was like, hey, this may sound weird, but do you want to talk again?
Yeah, dude, that would be a fucking trip. We should do that.
Yeah, so that'd be one of the great shows I think coming up. Hopefully, even though I say we also do it kind of Mystery Science Theater 3000 style. Listen back and really kind of bring up some jabs as well. But I know there was one time I was running a video test, and I always thought it would be the stupidest thing. But I think a commentary track for a podcast isn't too bad if it's managed correctly.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. There's got to be some way to mitigate the difference between,
Well,
the voices.
Well, it would take a little more engineering work. Because
do we just auto tune ourselves?
Yeah, there you go. That'd be wonderful. Actually, I do have a mixer in here. It's a sub mixer that would allow you to put on effects, so I could put us into there and then just us go into a single bus on this mixer.
Totally. Yeah.
Oh. But then we're talking about having two mixers on the desk, and I already cleaned up, and it was already a bumblefuck of wires again within 2 minutes. It's like,
dude, I know exactly what you mean.
It's like, you know how people do that thing where they scrunch up the straw wrapper, and then they put a drop of water on it, and it goes like poof and grows out.
Yeah.
Literally, somehow the wiring in the studio does. I get it all nice, neat, and organized.
Coiled and yep.
I like turn out, and I walk outside, and it's all like this, and then it just goes. What happened? I don't know. All right, folks. Now we're finally dipping into that 15 minutes we warned you about. So let's cue the music.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
That's right. From now on, this is it. So thank you for joining us this amount of time if you have, but from this point further, we are going to get into the actual meat and potatoes of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. You can bookmark this now, and you can come back to this one later and say, okay, I'll just cue it up to the last 15 minutes, and I can hear what they thought about it, but I haven't seen the music net or movie yet. I understand if you want to drop off on Twitter. Thank you so much for being with us, folks. But this is it. Now we're going to drop some serious shit about Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Spoilers disengaged.
No, they're not, you dummy. Stupid robot voice.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Pissing me off.
That might be... No, it's just the auto thing. So, Trent, first of all, go ahead first. Your biggest moment you wanted to talk about before but couldn't because we were being spoiler-free.
Let's just start at the beginning. Opening credits, dude. This is the best... Like, the him in Guardians 1 of... Star-Lord dancing with the opening credits was fun as he's like singing and walking and stuff. But the opening credits for this are fucking hilarious, adorable.
Yes.
Yes. And kind of sets the pace for the entire movie.
Yeah. And like I said, they don't fuck around. They're like, people are going to want to see the baby Groot.
Yep.
And they're basically fighting a MacGuffin, and it happens, but it gives you everything you want. Like I said, we get to see Rocket Raccoon flying. You get to see them battling. There's funny banter, but then it's just dancing baby Groot for the entire sequence.
Yep. Well, and right off the bat too, like I was shocked because they're essentially fighting Shuma Gorath in Guardians at the very beginning, who is up there with Galactus as one of the big bads.
Oh, as a dimensional being?
Yeah, as a dimensional being, interdimensional being who like sucks energy. For me that and then the crazy part is that was the whole plot. That was the that fight scene was the whole movie.
What?
Shuma Gorath is Ego.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Is Drax trying to go to the center to kill it? Like That was the like he's trying to get a battery, like where
Yeah,
he,
it's all
like,
that
it
the
was
first
the whole
battle
fucking
sequence
movie.
is an analogy for the rest of the film.
It totally is,
Dude, didn't even catch that. See,
Like-
so
like,
much smarter than me.
I felt bad. I need to apologize to my girlfriend because when Drax is like, I must kill him from the inside, and then he runs and then dives. Great scene, by the way.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, that's how they're gonna kill Ego, and she looks at me like, what? I'm like, never mind.
See, and because I just for once put my mind aside,
Right.
didn't
Right,
even pick up
exactly.
on that. But
Yeah,
but it's
because
true.
I watched this the first time I watched it through the lenses of a regular Will Wilkins film spoiler.
I'm
right?
sorry,
like
dude.
but then the second time, yeah, it's the same way. Like
Isn't it a horrible place to be in when you're just like you're trying to figure
I
it
know.
out and you're
I
like,
know. I totally was, dude, the whole time.
And you have that momentary feeling of accomplishment because you solved the mystery, but then you're disappointed you spoiled it for yourself for the rest of the
Yep.
film.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Actually, I'm going to skip to the end. My biggest thing, and this is the part that made me cry first.
Oh my god, dude.
And it's also the part I didn't understand. So this is a pretty major one, folks. So we learned from Ego. Well, first of all, we learned that Peter is not a special child, although he is in regards because he was able to get bonded with the celestial genes of Ego.
He had the celestial gene, which is crazy.
And was able to utilize it. So he was the first one. So in that respect, Peter truly was the special child of Ego. But there have been a whole lot before him, and he's just fed on their energy because he needs to sustain himself. But the part that I didn't understand was that he makes the comment when he's making when he's monologuing, basically.
Yeah.
And he gets a few. There's the good monologue and the villain monologue. I thought that was interesting. But it's when he said, and I felt so bad when I left that tumor in your mom's brain.
Yeah,
right?
and it was great too because it was kind of like
It was a throwaway.
Well, and it was like a slip, like yeah, and I loved your mother, gosh, and I knew if I ever went back, I'd never leave, so I couldn't go back.
So and that's the reason, and that's when I realized afterwards in thinking about it, that's the reason why he did it, because he had to take that temptation away from himself.
Yep. Exactly. Because expansion was eternal. Love with this mortal being is fleeting because what did he say? Because I found that life was just so disappointing.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing, but it wasn't that made me cry. It was just the true impact of on Peter, because he knew how good his mother was, and instantly he realized, one, my dad's an a-hole, complete and total. So this guy hasn't been in my life. Let's not get whimsical about it. And for no other reason than simply the fact that he can't handle his high. He killed the most beautiful being I know of in existence.
Yep. Dude, and his reaction, Peter's, is fucking brilliant, because out of nowhere, like, he just snaps out of that trance, boom, 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 and just like starts firing, blowing him away. There's no question in his mind about what he has to do.
Yeah, and then it's actually a callback a little later, and that was the important thing that I think old Ego didn't realize. Is the important thing about Peter was the celestial genes bonded. He was able to tap into that same energy.
Yes.
So he in essence could use Ego against himself.
Yeah.
And which I find is true. Ego works against me every goddamn time.
Right, yeah, which is the duality of the whole thing, right? And there's even which ties back to when they're trying to jump through the quantum asteroid field. It's Ego that stops them from making it through safely. Between internally, their egos.
Yes.
Between Rocket and
Definitely.
and Quill. Yeah.
Yeah, so that really just like hit me, because especially and it's such a stupid line, but just waterworks. It's like, you killed my mom and you shouldn't have crushed my Walkman.
Yeah. Oh,
boom, Peter in action.
Because that was his last connection with her.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah.
So that was the first part that made me weep. The second part that got me was the revelation that when Yontu realized what he had been doing all these years, because there was more than one child, folks, and somebody had to go and pick them up. and it turns out that was Yontu. And
Yep.
at the moment he found out what was real, he realized what was going on. One, he realized his complicity in it, and he accepted his lot in life on that and did the best he could from there, I think. And
Yeah.
that's something that, considering we thought this was a guy that just terrorized a small child, it turns out Yontu's story from the point he picks up Peter is one of sacrifice.
Yeah, it is. It's so interesting how and makes so much sense though too, because at the end when we see Yondu open up the Infinity Stone pod, it's that troll doll, and he just laughs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like his response is he just laughs instead of like, turn the ship around. You know what I mean? Like all the other things he could have done.
Yeah, it was really interesting. Same thing for Gamora too. The way they flipped the script on that
Yes.
one, we alluded to it before, but like what it all comes down to is both of them are these children having to live in this hellacious situation as the adopted children, or the children, whichever one was of Thanos. And
Yeah.
it turns out that and that part hit me the most. Is she's like, you were, when Nebula tells Gamora, you were all I had. You always wanted to win, and I wanted a sister.
And I just wanted a sister. Yeah, dude.
Oh my god!
Oh,
Right now.
it's so good.
You got to stretch, bro. I need a moment.
No, you're so right, and that's what's so crazy about it too. Like with those two, it is this beautiful like love hate. Like the only thing they have to bond them together is their hatred, and so they have to hold on to that hatred, because if they were to let that hatred go, they would have nothing between the two of them. And that plays back to like where I thought she was overreacting to everything, when in reality, that's the only emotion she's allowed to have left. Partly because Thanos has extracted it all from her.
Yeah.
She talks about how he took my eye from my body. He took my brain out of my head. And like, just because you couldn't lose once.
Mm-hmm.
And for Gamora, she was totally ambivalent, had no idea. She thought this was just like, this is the only way I can survive. But in reality, she could have survived with the help of someone if she would have been open to that, open enough to receive a sister. But
Mhm.
instead she was just focused on herself surviving, that she couldn't see, which created this whole other monster. Like it is a brilliant story that is told. I mean, it's so complex, but it's told in so few words, and like that could be a story in and of itself, but instead it's like the sea story going on in this bigger Guardians of the Galaxy, but it's so impactful.
Yeah, definitely. I was thoroughly blown away. I could not believe that they pulled that off, redefining so much, and also making scoundrels pay for their being scoundrels too. With what happened with the Ravagers, I thought that was actually a nice touch.
Okay, and for me, this is where I know James Gunn is a true comic book fan and is giving those true comic book fans the what's the term, the Easter eggs, the homage that we really want, right?
Mhm.
So the original Guardians of the Galaxy happened in the 31st century, and it was different colonies from Earth. People from each one of those colonies bound together. One, Charlie 27, was a really big tough guy. One was Yondu, who was had like this big fin on the top of his head and was an archer. One was a guy made out of complete diamonds. One was Vance Astro, who was an astronaut from the year 2000, sent forward into the future, right? And that was the original Guardians of the Galaxy. And so then we see that Yondu's team of Ravagers, the original team, is the original Guardians of the Galaxy with Michael Clark Duncan is 27, or no, Ving Rhames is 27, or Charlie 27. Sylvester Stallone is like the Vance Astro type. Like all these different characters, like that really not a huge part. Like they could have been anyone, but instead they chose to use like this obscure piece of continuity that no one knows about. And for a fan like me, I'm like freaking the fuck out at how cool it was.
Yeah, see, and I had no connection to it, but I knew that was at least something that I could look up later and probably
Totally,
be.
yeah. Yeah.
It didn't distract me from the story at all. By the way, I have to say, my daughter was so exhausted. I got all the way up to the post-credit sequence with the gold people and that reveal of
Oh,
the
yes.
what was that? The Warlock pod? Is that
That's Adam Warlock's cocoon.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the was there any more after that? As long as we're talking spoilers.
Yes, the very last one. It's really heartfelt.
What was it?
Because it might be one of the last times we get it due to his health. It's Stan Lee. Because earlier in the show,
he's talking to the
Watchers, right?
Yes.
So at the very last clip is Stan sitting there on this moon telling stories, and then the three of them just stand up and start walking away, and he goes, "Hey, where are you going? You're my ride home. Oh, I have so many more stories to tell." And then it ends.
That is when I saw that, first of all, the only disappointing thing for me in the movie theater was it happened so fast I did not get to see the Watchers he was talking to, really.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
But so is the sort of implication is that he is a Watcher as well, like I've said?
No, he's like a stranded astronaut just telling the Watchers these stories.
Oh, okay. I can't wait to actually see that, but it's nice to know what I missed.
It was really good. So some fun Easter egg stuff. There's that one really small scene where they're going through the kind of the horror house planet place.
And you see Howard the Duck.
And you see how that's Seth Green
again, reprising his role from the end credits of the last one.
Now Mainframe, who is one of the original Guardians, kind of is like this robot figure, and when they have everyone getting back together of the Ravagers, she says, "It's so glad to see everyone again," or something like that.
Is that what the robot head was?
That's Miley Cyrus.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like on top of that, his Quill's mother, Meredith Quill, is played by, and I didn't know this, which surprised me because I effing love this actress. She's one of my all-time, like, I have the biggest crush on her. Is Laura Haddock.
I'm not familiar who that is.
Okay, so Laura Haddock, she was in How Not to Live Your Life, one of my favorite BBC comedies, How Not to Live Your Life. She had a small role in Captain America, and then she anyway, like she's this great British actress. She's beautiful. I've had a crush on her forever. And I didn't even notice because she has such a thick Southern accent in the film.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I was blown away, and I didn't realize that she, was played it in the first film too. Like for me, that was like,
how could you?
Yeah, she was in Inbetweeners and a whole bunch of other stuff. But yeah, that one blew me away.
Yeah, I also like the way they worked that in. We said, Mom said my dad was from another planet, but she had a brain tumor. Thought she was just talking silly.
Yeah.
Like the way they threw that in. Also liked the way that they also made it so that Rocket, who is the most jaded creature,
oh my gosh, dude,
has the ability to communicate to everybody that he loves them when talking about Yontu instead.
Yep.
But then at the ends, and then he stole batteries when he didn't have to.
Yeah, and then
so he's
yeah, and actually, and you didn't yell, and you still forgave him, even though you guys yelled at each other.
Yeah.
And then Quill says, "Well, of course, we're family."
Yeah, just whoa. And then there's also the one. I mean, like, so many characters got to have so many great moments. But Yontu facing off with Rocket Raccoon and just saying to him, like,
yes,
there's that kind of, in a way, letting him know, I know you because you're me.
Because you're me.
And it's both as a comment, and I also felt as a warning.
Totally. Yeah. Don't end up like me. Like, oh.
Yeah.
And then so cool too for Rocket to have made that bond with Yondu, and then to be like, no, I've got to let him make this sacrifice by himself, and then he like stops Gamora from leaving, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he understands like this is his one chance to like do something to redeem himself for the bad things that he's done, like to make up for it all. Like,
oh god, that was another moment, man. My eyes just watered up just when he fires on her and he stops her and says, no, I can't lose another friend
friend today. Oh my god, dude. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, and then Oh, dude, on top of it too, and this is the part that I think we're gonna see in the director's cut. There is a scene that I believe was cut out between that's developed more between Mantis and Drax.
Which, by the way, brilliant move using Drax the way they did, because after the last movie, really his story is kind of told. Drax is now just along for the ride because he has found a new family.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a part where, you know, there's like this scene cut to where Gamora finds out, you know, the finds all the bodies and stuff, and then the next thing we see is her slamming Mantis into the wall. And I can't remember the dialogue, but she says something that kind of doesn't make sense, which I think is probably the cut scene in between the two.
You know what? I think I know what you may be talking about, but the reason why it happens is because in that moment, Mantis gets to touch Gamora.
Right.
And I thought it was based on insight.
Yeah. Which is why they had to have that in there so that she could say, "You are scared."
Mm-hmm.
But before that, so like jump 2 scenes before that, and the part where Mantis touches Drax and just starts bawling.
Yeah, but he is just sitting there stoic.
And
you realize,
and he's just sitting there, kind of looking off. Like Drax's acting in this film is really good. Like weirdly good for a WWE performer.
I think so, because especially considering he's just sitting there stoic, but we know that the inner turmoil and emotion that he's having.
Yeah.
His interactions with Mantis were great in this movie. They were just
so
fantastic.
Yeah. It's
seriously,
beautiful,
guys.
So are you on the inside?
On the inside. Well, Drax basically becomes the one character that has the majority of those great side comics.
Yeah, he totally takes over the Groot side of comedic relief in this one that Groot had in the first one. I think.
Well, I hate to be repetitive of something else too, but you know when they talk about Fat Man on Batman too, Kevin highlighted some of these great asides, and one of them is like my favorite in the original Guardians when he's like, "And I'm taking this knife," and he's like, and just the guy goes, and right before the cutaway, "That was my favorite knife."
That was my favorite knife.
You know, just little things like that. That was mostly Drax in this movie. He got to have all those great lines, but also again, the great thing about this movie is it just knows what it is. I for the people that want to compare it to the first one, that's fine, and you could say it's not as good or it's better. It doesn't matter to me. I am so happy with what I got that I'm not questioning it beyond that at all.
Yeah.
I hope I get that with The Last Jedi later this year. That's all I'm
hoping.
hoping.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and once again, I've just got to sit there and just let it. Maybe, who knows, man? Maybe I can finally slow my brain down. I'm getting older, right?
Yeah.
So that moment with the sisters made me cry. That moment with Rock. I mean, so many things. Basically, the last 20 minutes of this film is just waterworks for me.
Yep. Yeah. It's interesting too because the film is essentially over, with Yondu dying.
Yeah.
And then everything else after that is kind of just denouement. You know, wrapping things up.
Yeah, but the moment where everyone shows up and they give him exactly what, which by the way,
and they all do the Ravagers, and same thing when Sean Young like taps himself and just yells as loud as he can, dude. I was a fucking wreck. I was bawling, man. So cool, so fucking cool.
I can't even talk about it. I cannot even talk about it. That's how, and that's the thing too. Once again, when you, let's just say I put my mind on Mostly Idle, because the moment the Sylvester Stallone character is saying, you know, you ain't gonna have this or that on the day that you die, you just knew. The moment I heard that, I was like, oh,
oh shit, we're losing Yondu.
Which is a shame too, because you know I love the way they even worked into the story, getting him back to that early prototype fin on his head.
Yes, which is the direct. Which is how the Finn from the original comic book Yondu looks.
Exactly.
Is like that. Yeah.
That little bit of catership to people.
Totally.
And that's the beautiful thing about these movies is they really let James Gunn just have fun. And so there's so much that's in there.
Yep.
Oh man. All I can say is I can't wait to see it again. And thankfully, like I said, my daughter did fall asleep during the movie, so there's that. Also, I've promised to take my wife to see it.
Yes.
And
good.
once again, it's such a good feel. I'm telling you, I'm gonna wait until I'm in a bad mood to go see it. That's what I'm gonna do.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Cheaper than a prescription. Well, not really, but still.
Not to mention, there is some great eye candy right off the bat when they after they fight the Shumagaroth and they're on the back on the ship. There's like 5 seconds of Quill just like taking off his shirt and putting on a new shirt.
Yeah, I hope, and I'm pretty sure my daughter was awake for that part because that Chris Pratt is her main motivation for having an interest in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
I remember just being like, oh, okay, this is just like when Thor took off his shirt and put on a new shirt.
You know what, though? I don't fault them for it because, one, I'm sure the producers are like, well, we need Pratt out of a shirt in one part. And at the same time, Pratt is probably thinking, this ridiculous fucking prescription diet and nutrition plan I got to follow.
I've got to get something out of it.
All these hours in the gym, I'm taking my shirt. You guys, you're going to have to fight me to keep my gear on.
For sure, yeah.
Right? And every one of these, every article of clothing better be damn tight fitting for what I'm going through.
Yep.
So anyway, I think in case you cannot tell, we absolutely positively loved and adored this movie.
Yep, without a doubt.
So I fully endorse it. Fully NetHeads endorsed for this. You know, you can come to us for commentary on toilet installation and your Marvel MCU movies for sure.
Yeah.
Now, what's the next thing we got to look forward to? Is it Homecoming? And then Ragnarok?
I believe so. Yeah, or is Ragnarok comes out before Homecoming, I think.
I don't know. It doesn't
I'm
matter.
not sure.
Looking forward to those. I'm going to, look,
Yeah.
I'm going to give Wonder Woman, I'm going to try and give Wonder Woman a chance. I'm sure that is one I'll be able to go see with my girls, at least with my wife and my eldest daughter.
Yeah.
And I'm pumped for it, and I'm really hoping there was enough lessons learned in the last two DCU dalliances that they've learned to make it a little more happy. I'm hoping.
Yeah. Yeah.
But still, Marvel's got my buck. I'm waiting for Homecoming. I'm waiting for Ragnarok, and then we're gonna see what happens when The Force Awakens: The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Right.
It's true.
The last title of the last movie is going to be, and he's very grumpy. The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and he's grumpy.
And he's got an axe to grind.
Oh my gosh! By the way, on Facebook, Ryan Call, one of your co-conspirators at the Salt Lake Comic-Con, posted this amazing video. Jimmy Kimmel, he is out on maternity leave. They're a guest host, and Kristen Bell.
Yeah.
Was hosting, and Adam, what's his last name? Adam Scott was the guest, and he was talking about how he wrote a letter to Mark Hamill for his to come to his birthday, and then they get Mark Hamill showing up, and I know exactly how he feels. There's a cut, and the moment Hamill's walking in, they cut to Adam Scott, and you can see his ring finger is just suddenly shaking because you're now meeting essentially an icon.
Yeah.
And I think the beautiful thing of that moment is it doesn't matter who you are. That would be us. We were him in that moment as well.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen that clip, I highly encourage you to go out and get it. Any other memorable clips from the internet you want to recommend to people this week?
Not off the hand.
Fair enough. Until next time, folks. That's been it. The spoilers are off. We are off. We've put in an hour and a half. We've done our time. God damn it! You bought your tickets. You knew what you were getting into. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for tuning in. Next week, hopefully, we'll be talking to Josh Stifter. A couple weeks, maybe after that, we'll get Trent back, and we'll see what happens. Right?
That's right.
When would be the first time you would be able to record? And mind you, take into consideration jet lag and traveling and suffering as well.
Yeah. So I will fly in early on the 28th.
What day of the week is that?
That's No, on the 21st. So I'll get in like at 3 a.m. on the 21st.
So this is it for May for Trent until the end of the month, folks. That's it. So it'll be Josh Stifter and I hopefully holding things down in the interim. But we will be here because I love to talk about my Loot Crate and talk about everything else. Plus, it will have all seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2 more, and we can get another person's perspective, which I'm interested to hear because of the artist's eye and the animator eye of Josh Stifter as well, because he has. Like, I have a new appreciation for the opening of the movie Deadpool from an animator's perspective, because that opening of the movie, that still shot that we traverse through on this rotary cam, that's like animator pornography when you think about it.
Dude, for sure.
Like, look at these grains of glass just floating free in the air, and look at this coffee. Oh, it was all beautiful. Anyway, folks, until next time, if you want to find out more about Trent, you can go to apartofhim.com. You can follow A Part of Him on Twitter. I'm NetheadWW. You can go to willwilkins.com. Most importantly, go to netheadsonair.com. Sign up for the newsletter that we haven't distributed yet, because you know what? The more the merrier in setting you up for disappointment. That's why we want you to. That's why we want you here. So that's it, folks. Until next time, we'll be back
soon.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. Signing off. I know, right? But stop being a little Nancy and deal with it. NetHeads. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye. At smodcast.com.
This has been a production of Smodco Internet Radio. Sir, only at smodcast.com.
I love the way this worked out. You're like, I'm going away. I'm going to throw Will a bone. We'll do a podcast on that.
Well, it worked, didn't it?
It did. Your masterful plan is played out in spades, sir. I'm just glad. The only thing I'm questioning, and I've asked my daughter about this, and she said, no, I fully planned on staying awake, but was it a bad call as a father knowing she got up at 6 a.m. to take her to a 9:30 movie? I mean, really,
No.
Was my motivation seeing the movie? Was it seeing it with my daughter?
Yes, to everything.
I think so, but I mean, look, gotta call a spade, Trent. Part of it was I didn't want to record this podcast not having seen the movie, and you had.
So maybe everyone wins out of it.
I think so.
Yeah.
Oops, wrong one again.
Oh,
that's
it
okay.
worked.
I'll fix it in post. I mean, except for the fine folk on YouTube. You get what you get, and that's the way
fine.
it is.
Yeah.